great service specials.
At First Horizon, we know if there's a win, there's a way. Our team is here to help every step of the way with personal, business, or private banking. Stop by and visit us at one of our locations in Cleveland or give us a call at 423-559-7660. At First Horizon, we look forward to finding a way.
It's $1.50 Wing and Whiskey Wednesday at Aubrey's Cleveland.
Hey, Andy Morris here. Join me along with my co-host on The Drive, presented by Hardees, weekdays at 5 p.m. on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Cleveland and Bradley County's local sports show, weekdays at 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Don't take no slap. Got a thirst for killing. Drink your body.
Woo! That's right. You heard it. You know, when you hear the woo, just like our guy Ric Flair, when you hear that, you know what's getting ready to go down. This is The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. Andy Morris here along with Jim Gum. And I tell you what, there's so much going on because of this college football playoff ranking. So much conversation that we're about to have on this show. And it's been going on for the past, how long has it been now since that came out? 14 hours?
Yeah, you talk about the one that was released last night,
yes.
Right at 7 o'clock. So at 7 o'clock yesterday, it's been, almost 22 hours, I guess.
Okay, yeah. I'm not a math guy, Jim.
Either way, it's been 22 hours since it was released, and very interesting. Not a lot of movement, but the movement that was made, controversial, to say the least, especially if you're a fan of Notre Dame.
Yeah, we're going to talk about
Texas A&M. You got BYU, Miami, Texas, Vanderbilt. Those are the schools that everyone's talking about. They're on this ledge, if you want to call it that, or you get a fall off or you get to make it back into the building. It's just one of those things where I was surprised last night. I was actually surprised they dropped Texas A&M from number 3 to number 7. I thought they'd be ahead of Oregon and Ole Miss, but they did drop them a lot further. And then they had Alabama going from 10 to 9, dropping Notre Dame from 9 to 10. And they used the reasoning was that big win over Auburn on the road.
that huge win.
At Jordan-Hare Stadium. And I was like, yeah, but this Auburn team isn't that good. There's been a lot of teams that have beat them this year.
And I want to emphasize that huge, dominant win at Auburn. We're going to talk about that. Don't even get me. You're getting me started a little too early.
Because I thought about you when I saw that last night.
You're getting me fired up a little too early. We're going to dive into that. My perspective as a Notre Dame fan, those guys, those teams on the bubble, kind of on the outside looking in. We're going to talk about all that. But Jim always, of course, he does our Inside the SEC segment.
And it's going to be a basketball-related one today, by the way.
So since he's going basketball on that today, Jim's football Inside the SEC should be talked about the SEC favoritism in this ranking. Goodness gracious.
Well, I mean, right now the SEC has 5 teams in the playoffs. I mean, you've got Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and Alabama. They're in at the present time, and I'm assuming they're all going to stay in. I don't think that Alabama losing to Georgia would knock them out, but there again, I can't predict what this selection committee is going to do because they have done things already this year that I was like, what? So you know this, Andy. I'm so anti-selection committee, it ain't even funny. There is no way. Listen, we got more politicking going on in college football than we do in actual politics.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to listen to all these head coaches for all these teams having to go to bat. You got conferences throwing out numbers and everything. You can spin it positively for whoever you're a fan of or you want to spin it positively for and throw shade at your opponents. It's become ridiculous is what it's become.
My biggest problem with it is the inconsistency.
Yeah, extremely.
One university, because of their logo or conference affiliation, will get favoritism for one reason, and then another team who's maybe in a conference that doesn't get as many teams ranked going into the season, they say, well, their conference isn't as tough, even though, they had a good record in their conference. Like, I'm tired of that. I'm so tired of that because inconsistency is the absolute perfect word to describe how this committee operates. And I'm not saying that as a frustrated Notre Dame fan. So first, let's go through these teams real quick. Let our listeners know. I'll get the top 5 here. Jim's Ohio State Buckeyes ranked number 1 in the latest college football playoff rankings by the selection committee. Indiana number 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech 4, and Oregon 5.
Yeah, and then after that, you've got Ole Miss sitting there at number 6. Texas A&M drops from number 3 down to number 7. Oklahoma stays at number 8. Alabama goes from 10 to 9. Notre Dame goes from 9 to 10. That's a controversial one. But let's keep going, Andy.
Yeah, and then BYU comes in at number 11, which right now has them sitting more than likely outside looking in.
The good thing about them, they play Texas Tech on Saturday, so they do control their destiny. If they win, they're in. If they lose, they're out.
So if BYU
basically the playoffs begin on Saturday.
But Jim, time out. A conference championship game shouldn't hurt your chances.
But it can help it.
It can help it.
It can help it. It's not supposed to hurt.
So right now they're sitting at 11. If they lose that conference championship game, do they get to stay at 11?
Well, they're out anyway.
Yeah, they are.
At 11, they're out because you got
that group of 5.
Yeah, you've got the group of 5. You got the ACC and the group of 5 that are going to. So really, we're talking about the top 10. You got to be in the top 10 to get any type of an at-large.
And then, of course, at number 12, Miami, and 13, Texas, 14, Vanderbilt. Those teams are unfortunately just out of luck. Vandy and Texas are not going to get in when you've got 5 other SEC teams who there's only 2 of them that are active conference championship weekend. I know that Vanderbilt fans, Texas fans, very upset right now. They're not happy about how this went down with the fact that BYU and Miami are ahead of them. But you mentioned a very key point here. Because of the ACC, the highest ranked, which if Duke wins that, by the way, if they win the ACC.
They're 7-5. And if they win, here's the thing. If Duke upsets Virginia in the ACC championship game,
which Virginia is coming in ranked number 17.
Yeah, and of course Duke's unranked, and they're not even close to being ranked. So let's assume if Duke upsets Virginia, the ACC is out probably because I don't think Miami's getting in.
So that could help BYU potentially.
Here's what would happen. Maybe you'd have the winner of the Tulane North Texas game in the American Conference, they're in. The winner of that game's in. And then you probably, assuming that James Madison beats Troy in the Sun Belt Conference championship game, they're in too. So you would have 3 Power 4 leagues automatic and then 2 automatic from the G5 because the stipulation is the 5 highest ranked conference champions are in. Period. End of story. And that would include those schools. This is the ACC, and how in the world this tiebreaker allowed Duke to get in with a 6-5 record because they were 6-2 in the ACC, but they were 1-3 in non-conference games, which really, really hurts their credibility in my book.
Yeah, and so I pulled that up as you're talking about it. Pulled up the ACC standings, and Duke really could throw a wrench in this team. They could honestly help a team out. They could really help someone benefit from them winning the ACC.
Well, and here's the thing. The only teams that could benefit, Andy, are going to be a G5 team because it has to be a conference. There has to be 5 conference champions in. So people keep thinking, oh, well, this at-large team.
That's true.
No,
that is true.
No, it won't. No, there's 5 conference. The highest 5 the 5 highest rated conference champions are automatically in the playoffs. It's going to be James Madison and the winner of Tulane and North Texas.
That's pathetic.
That's going to happen if Duke wins. It is pathetic, but those are the rules. So they're not going to change the rules.
No, you're spot on with that. Even though a lot of us feel like maybe they should. Like timeout. We need a mulligan here because we messed up. We didn't plan this out. We didn't realize it was going to come to this. this is something that's got to be corrected. But the ACC has got to take some heat right now. And I believe, so I'm looking at Duke's schedule here. And, of course, you know, they didn't have a head-to-head with Miami, I don't think. No, they didn't.
No.
So this is how do you put them in your conference championship game with the risk of not having a team represent your conference in the playoff when you have Miami sitting ranked number 12 with the same conference record, and then you've got Georgia Tech sitting at number 22 with the same conference record.
Here's the thing. When you're talking about conference tiebreakers, you cannot include any non-conference games. Here's the thing. They went 1-3 versus non-conference opponents. They beat Elon. They lost 45-19 to Illinois. They lost 34-27 to Tulane. And then they lost 37-34 versus UConn. I mean, every team that they lost to going to a bowl game, they lost to some really good teams, but they lost. So the way the tiebreaker works, you throw the non-conference games as if they never happened. So all they're doing is looking at the 6-2 Duke.
Well, you have 5 teams in the ACC that went 6-2 in the ACC, and so this is my issue with that, Jim. You've got a team like Miami who did not play Duke head-to-head, and they have the same record, and they're a better team. They're ranked higher. Why in the world?
It's some type of however the tiebreakers work in the ACC, and I saw it earlier. There's just the way it worked out when you had multiple teams tied, where they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams. There was some kind of I don't remember how it happened, but it just came out to where Duke's the team. Well, they got the benefit of the doubt based on a 5-team tiebreaker.
That's crazy to me because I understand. If in a very recent game, Duke did beat Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Has nothing to do with recency. Has everything to do with the tie-breaking system in the ACC amongst multiple teams.
Well, I'm saying that's why a 6-2 Georgia Tech is not in this conversation because they did lose to Duke.
So you got Duke 6-2, Miami 6-2, Georgia Tech 6-2, SMU 6-2, and Pitt 6-2.
5 teams.
You had 5 teams, and the only way it works is they throw out the non-conference results as if they never happened.
Yeah, you have to.
It's kind of like Surf Pro, like it never even happened. The same way with these teams, like the non-conference games never even happened. There's a tiebreaker amongst 5 teams with identical records, and it went multiple layers before Duke came out on top. And that's just the way it is.
And so, again, Jim just went through and named these teams, but SMU, Miami, Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech are all going to be sitting at home on conference championship weekend as the Duke Blue Devils get to represent the ACC.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
You know, the tiebreakers, I get. There needs to be some stipulation to where non-conference of results have to be figured in a little bit. But in the ACC, they're not. They're
I don't
not
have a problem. I don't have a problem with it as much when you're deciding who's playing in your conference championship game. But again, we're talking about Miami, and I'm defending Miami here a little bit. Miami has wins, and I know that out of conference doesn't matter, and it shouldn't. But they've got wins over some good teams.
Notre Dame being really good
being
team.
one of them. But their 2 losses are to SMU and Louisville. Those are 2 better ACC losses than the 2 that Duke has. If you look at Duke, their ACC losses are to, I take that back, are to Virginia and Georgia Tech.
Exactly. You know, so see the thing that Georgia Tech went to the tiebreaker there, but because it's multiple teams, they're all lumped together.
So
there's you see like Duke.
Is strength of ACC schedule a part of their process since they lost to 2 really good teams in the ACC?
Here's Duke. They beat North Carolina State. They beat Syracuse. Like who didn't beat Syracuse? They beat California. Lost to Georgia Tech. Beat Clemson. That's a good win. Lost to Virginia head-to-head, but that's not part of the tiebreaker. They beat North Carolina, and they beat Wake Forest. It's just the way the tiebreaker formula works in the ACC. It is what. Here's the thing.
They need to throw it in the trash, whatever that formula
if
is.
Virginia wins the game on Saturday, then all this is a moot point.
Yes.
It's a moot point.
And I think that is going to happen, honestly. I do think Virginia, if they play to the capability that we've seen them this year, Virginia had some tough wins in the middle of the season. They're a battle-tested team. They know how to grit out a victory. They know how to do that. I think... especially looking at what Virginia's done over the past couple weeks, a dominant win over Duke, and your rematch, you're getting a rematch.
And here's the thing: Duke is one of those teams where you can't figure them out because they're up 1 week, down the next. So which Duke shows up on Saturday
But
night?
that is kind of dangerous. You're a Duke team who just got beat by this Virginia team with getting another shot at them. You kind of go into that game with a little reckless
kind of like
chaos.
Georgia getting another shot at Alabama.
Yes, and I think that one's going to go the other way as well.
You think Georgia's going to beat them?
I think
Alabama's won 9 of the last 10. There comes a point where it's time for Georgia
Jim.
to turn the other cheek, if you know what I mean.
Yes, Alabama can't run the football. I think Georgia is going to make them, try to run the football because we're going to play lockup coverage. We're going to be playing a nickel. We're going to be playing a dime defense. You guys are not going to throw the football on us.
Apparently, the selection committee thinks they can run the ball well enough to move them up from 9 to 10, or 10 to 9. I mean.
Yeah, listen, it's 5:14 on that note. We're going to hit a little bit local stuff before we take our first break. One thing this morning on Mixed Morning, Steve had on a few guys I know very well, some middle school wrestling coaches, but not what you would normally think. These coaches were here to represent their girls' middle school wrestling teams. Friday at Ocoee Middle School at 6 o'clock, the first ever girls tri-meet in the state of Tennessee. All girls dual meet, tri-meet between Ocoee Middle, Lake Forest, and Cleveland Middle is going to take place again 6 o'clock at Ocoee Middle School on Friday. And Steve had them on this morning, the coaches of those girls' teams, and talk about a lot of energy. Anyone that's familiar with wrestling in this area, anyone that comes from outside the wrestling community to this area will tell you the same thing. Wrestling's a big deal here. It really is.
Listen, all the proof's in the pudding, if you call it.
Yes.
You know what I mean.
It is. And I heard all three of those coaches, Eric Sikarsich at Cleveland, Aaron over at Lake Forest, and Bill Connor at Ocoee, they all said at the high school level, if you're going to win a state championship or you're going to compete for one, you've got to go through Cleveland and Bradley County. And it's between Bradley and Cleveland, it's been that way for decades now.
Yeah, decades.
And with my Mustangs in the mix, you got to show up. You got to show up in battle to get past our guys and our girls. You're starting to see wrestling grow even more so in our community, which this is a wrestling-rich community. A lot of my friends, a lot of people I know that come from up north are like, dude, I feel like I'm back in Iowa.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm back in Ohio. I hear that a lot, and part of that is because we have so many passionate people that pour into our youth and to our wrestling programs, but we've got school systems that support our wrestling programs. So we've seen girls wrestling across the country grow at an insane rate over the past 5 or 6 years, and Tennessee's been at the forefront of that. That talk about one of the best collegiate programs up at King University, up in Bristol area, and it's continuing to grow. More and more opportunities for girls to earn scholarships at the collegiate level.
Right.
But you've got 3 really good girls programs at all 3 high schools here, and now we're seeing it go down to the middle school level because these girls want to be a part of that. They want the opportunity, and how excited I am that we're going to be able to showcase and promote like we did this morning what's going on Friday night over at Ocoee at 6 o'clock between Lake Forest, Cleveland, and Ocoee. It is such a cool thing, something that I'm very proud of. I'm excited to be a part of it. And one of my most enjoyable things to do as a wrestling coach is watch our girls wrestle and coach them and watch them learn and pick up on stuff, or they'll watch the boys wrestle and they're like, he should have done that. And I'm like, well, you need to do that too. And seeing them, because a lot of these girls are new to the sport.
Sure, absolutely. And
they're continuing to learn, and we've had so many representatives here locally, like Piper Fowler, first person that comes to mind. She's a world champion. She's wrestling at one of the best colleges in the country right now when it comes to girls wrestling up at William Penn. And she kind of was the flag bearer, if you would, for girls wrestling, not just in Tennessee, but specifically right here in our area. And people like her have shown what's possible in girls wrestling, where it can take you, what it can do for you. And I believe Coach Sakarzic even mentioned girls flag football, how much it's growing. That's what girls wrestling is. It's one of the fastest growing sports in the country.
Well, what's good is that giving more opportunities for girls to get into whatever sport they want. It doesn't matter what it is. You've talked about flag football, which is growing as well. We've always had, the softball. We've had the volleyball. It's good to have other options for girls. And as someone who was a girl dad, I loved my daughter. She was a big-time softball player at one time. Now, she transitioned into, dance and cheerleading. But people that don't have daughters don't understand. There's a fire in their bellies, too.
Yeah.
They love to compete, and they like to win, too. And people that don't have girls in their family, as far as daughters, it's there. You know it as a dad.
Personalities are different for everybody, male or female. Personalities are different. That energy is different. But having opportunities allows the student athletes to be able to pursue what they want to do, what they're interested in. And speaking as a girl dad, I've got 2 girls at home who spend a lot of time hanging out with the Walker Valley cheerleaders, and they love that stuff.
That's great.
And then they also spend a lot of time watching the Walker Valley Lady Mustang wrestlers take the mat. And personalities are different. Both my daughters, Murphy and Kimbrell, one of them's a little bit more leaning towards, I think I like the cheer side. And then one of them's kind of like, I think I kind of like choking people out and beating them up a little bit.
And there's nothing wrong with either one.
Yeah. So that what that does is present more opportunities. Not just to potentially earn a scholarship one day or to
be
win
on a
title,
team.
but to be a part of something.
Be
exactly.
a part of a team. Exactly.
And I think it's so special that this community is so supportive of a sport that I personally love and it has taught me so much. But now being able to know as a parent, as a dad, that, hey, this is an option for my daughters, and I don't have to send her out, when she's in 6th grade, to wrestle an 8th grade boy.
Right,
Like that provides a comfort for me as a dad.
Yeah.
And some parents are okay with that. But personally, I'd prefer my daughter to take the mat against another girl, and now we're starting to see that become a reality.
Well, that's the sports growing, and like you said, here in the state of Tennessee, we're kind of at the forefront. We're like, I'm not going to say we're guinea pigs, but we're doing things ahead of what other states are doing, and I'm happy to be part of that.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
Yeah, no doubt about it. So with that, we are going to take our first break. Got me fired up talking a little wrestling on the drive today. We don't do that a whole lot, but when we come back, we are going to talk more about all the controversy with the college football playoff. And also, I'm going to bring up an old story for those of you that might remember a name, Kevin Hart. And I'm not talking about the little comedian. I'm not talking about that guy. But just kind of sit on that one for a minute. Going to bring up an old story in honor of National Signing Day, all when we come back right here on The Drive.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Right now, someone in a Hardee's kitchen is about to warm up your winter with the new grilled cheese bacon burger. Charbroiled 100% Angus beef, bacon, and Swiss and American cheese melting on our soft, buttery sourdough. And our new grilled cheese breakfast sandwich with sausage or bacon and a fried egg. Cozy up to the goodness of the new grilled cheese bacon burger and breakfast sandwich. For a limited time, only at Hardee's. Cinnamon Raisin Biscuits are back. Unwrap them while you can. Only for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Did you twist an ankle? Hurt your shoulder? Or maybe that weekend project left you with more than sore muscles? Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Our Urgent Ortho Walk-In Clinic in Cleveland is open Monday through Saturday, treating sprains, strains, fractures, and more. No appointment needed. There's no need to drive to Chattanooga for expert orthopedic care. Call, schedule online, or walk in today and get back to moving pain-free. Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. The Center for expert care right when you need it.
Everyone wants to be home for the holidays. For the last 56 years, Bender Realty has been building traditions of family and home. Whether buying, selling, or leasing, Bender Realty is the place to call for all things home. Be home with Bender Realty, and from our family to yours, Merry Christmas.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell.
Need a new shop, garage, or other unique space? Explore post-frame building kits from Best Buy Metals. Best Buy Metals kits utilize steel trusses for the ultimate in strength and durability. When you need it to last, call Best Buy Metals. Stop by or visit bestbuymetalroof.com for your custom structure.
Check your wallet. Empty? Check your bills. Overdue? Check your stress level. Maxed? Now, check into cash. Check into Cash is your one-stop money shop, and we've got everything you need. Payday loans and flex lines of credit options? Check. Quick in-store services like money orders and wire transfers? Check. Turn your unused gift cards into cash? Oh yeah, check. And yes, we cash checks. All kinds. Fast. Check that off your list. Visit checkintocash.com or check into a store to get started. The process is simple, quick, and designed to get you the help you need fast. If you've been approved, you can leave with cash in hand. We have locations in the Chattanooga area, including Cleveland and Athens. Check in, cash out, and get on with life. Check into Cash. We fund today to make a better tomorrow. Subject to state regulations, eligibility, credit check, underwriting, and approval. Rates, restrictions, and fees apply. Visit a store for details. Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians, $22 to $27 per hour. Excellent benefits beginning day one: medical, dental, vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com. And before we get to Kevin Hart, whoever you're talking about, I want to do Inside the SEC, sponsored by Southern Heritage Bank. The ACC-SEC Challenge began last night. The ACC won 6 out of the 9 games last night. Of course, highlighted by Duke beating Florida, I should say, 67-62. Great game there. Syracuse over Tennessee, 62-60. North Carolina beats Kentucky 67-64. Those were the 3 headline games. Virginia Tech outlasted South Carolina in overtime. Oklahoma beat Wake Forest. A&M over Pitt. Miami defeated Ole Miss. Georgia trounced Florida State, and Notre Dame defeated Missouri. Now tonight you got 7 more games. Louisville at Arkansas, Clemson at Alabama, LSU at Boston College, SMU at Vandy, North Carolina State at Auburn, Virginia at Texas, and Mississippi State at Georgia Tech. And that is Inside the SEC, sponsored by Southern Heritage Bank. Now I'm dying to know who the heck Kevin Hart is.
Okay, so, and I teased it going into the break, but Kevin Hart, again, not the comedian, not the little short guy.
You know, I've got a vision in my head of who we're talking about.
So for those of you, some of you may remember this, some of you may not. This might be the first time you've heard this story, but back in 2008, so dialing back the clock a little bit here, on National Signing Day, offensive lineman Kevin Hart from Fernley High School in Nevada committed to play for Cal over Oregon.
I remember this now. I do remember this, yeah.
And it was a big deal. Like, there were news crews there from his area, from his town. The whole school was there. They did this big thing in the gym. They had it set up, and there was only one problem.
Yeah.
Cal and Oregon, and I believe Stanford was like the other hat he had on the table. Those programs had no clue who he was.
Yeah, they did not recruit him at all.
At all. And come to find out, he wasn't a bad football player, but he wasn't a D1 type guy, and he completely staged his recruitment, the attention, and he started telling people, like, hey, even his coaches, they'd never had anybody recruited before, so they didn't know any better.
Right.
Not from a major school, and they're like, well, he had sent in some stuff. They'd sent him some stuff for camps, and so he had the envelopes and the paperwork to be convincing.
Mm-hmm.
When he would write a program, hey, I'm interested to come play football at Oregon, and Oregon sends him, hey, these are our camps, our prospect camps, come check it out. And he's walking around holding an envelope from Oregon. People are like, hey, Kevin's getting recruited to Oregon. And he completely faked his whole town, coaches, his own parents. He faked everybody into thinking he's getting recruited by at the time, these Pac-12 schools. And he made the huge decision to not go to Cal when he put that Cal hat on because they didn't know who he was. So
I remember that, though. I do, actually.
And come to find out, so like I saw this kind of flashback and come up today, and I was like, dude, I got to talk about this because it was so interesting seeing how, like, you feel bad for the guy after you hear it. It got to a point where, like, he kind of told some people, and then it picked up steam, and he felt like, well, I've got to carry this out.
Yeah, I've got to, the cat's out of the
yeah.
So he's got to live with it,
or I'm going to look like an idiot. Maybe I'll sign, and then that'll be the end of it, and I'll just say I decided I didn't want to go or something. Yeah. And as soon as it went on the news, it started kind of. This is 2008, by the way, so viral's not quite what it is now. But Cal kind of caught wind of it, and they like released a statement. They're like, we don't know who this is. Like, we never recruited this kid. And kind of word started to spread. Some coaches at some other area high schools were like, we know people at Cal. They don't know who he is. And so it really fell, it imploded on him. And if you watch specials that they've done, like, you feel bad for the kid. But he ended up going on to play college football and played, see where he played at.
Redlands Junior College or something like that.
So, he did. He played at it's called the Mid-Empire Conference.
Okay.
So it was Feather River Community College, played JUCO, and then got signed after JUCO to go play football at another school. And if I had to guess, it was like looking here, it looks like there may be an
San Francisco State.
Well, they're like an NAIA school or something like that. So, but he played four solid years of college football, got an education, so good for him. But, man, when that happened, I remember that was like national news.
I remember that now. I just forgot the guy's name.
Yeah, it was such a big deal, and that popped up today, and I said, yeah, we got to talk about this.
Signing day is today, of course, the early signing period, and most schools sign the bulk of their players today. Now, there are some that are going to trickle and wait till the spring. Coaching in flux, you don't know. And listen, here's the thing. With the world that we live in, kids that sign today can actually enter the transfer portal in January if they so choose. If things change at their school between now and January, 4th or 5th, whenever the other side, the portal opens. So just because you got them signed and sealed and delivered today doesn't mean they're going to stick with you, because that is an option. So we don't know what's going to happen. College football is so crazy these days. I don't even hardly pay attention to signing day because I think the transfer portal personally is more important. I do. I believe the transfer portal is more important than National Signing Day because of the way you can immediately change the dynamics of your team and your prospects. Because now you've got proven college guys. They've proved they can play in college, where a lot of these high school kids, they may have been a 4 or 5 star. They may not be able to play a lick once they get in college because they're just not as good. They were over-advertised. But when you go into portal, you've got proven commodity.
Which is very unfortunate for these high school kids coming out.
It is.
Going back to the whole COVID scenario, like there were a couple classes of kids that got looked over and not really given opportunities to play multiple sports, but specifically football at the next level, because everyone got that COVID year. Do you remember that?
That's right.
They got that extra year. And
that's gone now, by the way.
It is. But there was a class of kids that didn't get recruited because, hey, our guys that we had last year are getting an extra year.
That's right.
And guess what? Now we got this portal thing. We're going to go get the pieces we need. Why do we need to recruit high school kids right now? So for a year, those kids suffered, and they had to kind of work their way back into a cycle of, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go play JUCO ball, and hopefully then I can go sign somewhere in this next class.
One of the good things, though, that has come out in the last year or so is they're actually increasing the number of recruits that you can sign. It's gone from 85 to 100, 105, something like that. So you're going to have more kids on scholarship, which that's a good thing because you got more kids being able to go to college. Obviously, a small percentage will go on to play at the professional level. Most of them will not. That's just the reality.
Which, by the way, Kevin Hart, who we were just talking about, the faux signee, went on to play at Missouri Western State, which is a Division II, NCAA Division II school. So.
Division II, that's the same level as Lee University.
Yeah,
Division
exactly.
II.
So good for him, but a unique story that he probably wishes would disappear at this point in his life.
Well,
but
you brought it up today.
I did.
On signing day,
I did.
I'm sure we're not the only talk show in America that has mentioned him, I should say.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. I had just forgot what his name was.
Yeah, very unique scenario there, but there are some big names in this signing class. Some former NFL players, children, former NBA players whose
legacies.
Kids, yeah,
what I call.
Yeah, exactly. That are going on to play at the next level. I know my team, the Fighting Irish, are getting a few of those guys. Larry Fitzgerald's son is one of them.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but, Chris Henry, his dad, the late Chris Henry, played in the NFL with the Bengals. He was supposed to sign with Ohio State today. Well, Brian Hartline, the wide receiver coach, took the job at South Florida today.
That's right.
And he has not signed.
So he's kind of holding out now.
He's kind of weighing his options. I get it, That's the reality. But there again, it's not the end of the world. It's not like Ohio State's going to go in the dumper because they don't get a few guys.
Yeah.
By the way, there was another kid that wanted to go to Ohio State. His mom refused to sign the papers. Refused to sign. Guess where he signed? Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
He went to Tennessee instead of Ohio State because his mother refused to sign the papers for him to go to Ohio State.
Sometimes mama just knows best.
We'll see.
Do you remember? So this is going back a little bit too. A few years ago on signing day, the kid that was, I believe, ended up committing and was ready to sign with Florida, and his mom got up and walked off the TV set.
She wanted him to go to Alabama.
Yeah,
that's right.
That was so wild.
And I think he ended up at Florida, and I think he was a decent player. Wasn't an All-American or anything like that. But I mean, let your kids go where they want. I'm sorry if my kid listen. If I had a football player and my kid wanted to go to Michigan, I go to Michigan. I don't care. Go to UTC. I'm going to support my kid. I want him to go to where he wants to go or where she wants to go, not where mom wants him to go or where dad wants him to go.
Just don't ask me to write the check if you're not getting a full ride. Right, Jim?
No, that's not the way it works, man. Blood is thick. Listen, it is what it is. You support your kids.
Well, listen, if I'm Jim Gum and my kid's getting ready to being the Buckeye that you are, getting ready to go to Michigan, say, listen, you want to go to Michigan? Absolutely, go ahead. They better be paying for all your school, though.
By the way, with my last name, I should have been a dentist.
Yeah, you could have been.
I should have been a dentist with doctor. I'm going to Dr. Gum.
But hey, at least you're slapping your gums here, right?
That's exactly
That's
right.
what we're doing here on the drive.
That's exactly right.
So before I completely just go into diehard fan mode here, and we dive back into these playoff rankings and Alabama jumping, I do want to get some breaking news out there. Jim, you're our resident Big Ten guy. Kirk Ferentz is set to return for his 28th season with the Iowa Hawkeyes next year. Is that a good decision for Iowa or not so good?
Well, let me ask you this. There's only one 8-4 team ranked in the top 25 of the CFP rankings. Who is that?
And it's the Hawkeyes.
They are playing really good football right now.
And they're tough every year.
He's a good coach. He's a Hall of Famer. He doesn't have the greatest winning percentage of all time. But you know what? Iowa's a hard place to recruit to.
It is.
He's done as good a job as you can imagine there with limited, resources. He doesn't have the resources that Alabama or Tennessee or Michigan
Nowhere
or USC.
close.
He's done a darn good job. He runs a clean program. I'm all for stuff like that.
So I'm friends with several Hawkeye fans, and I know a lot. They all love Kirk Ferentz, but some of them are saying, when are we ever going to find a way to get over the hump? Like, can we do that with Kirk? And so this is where, and I mentioned this on this show the other day with Philip Former, you don't treat a legend poorly at the end. You honor them, and you send them out gracefully. Mm-hmm. And he's sitting here getting ready to return for year 28. I'm okay with it. I really am. And I think it's to a point where it's probably going to be his last year. I thought this year was probably going to be his last year. But with this, what that tells me is that the university does support him. They do want him there.
Here's my thing. And we've talked about other schools like this. To me, Iowa is a school where you can win 9, maybe even 10 games. Iowa's not going to win a national championship. They just don't have that type of support there. I mean, they do their best. They can. But there are certain schools that I think there's a ceiling, and I think Iowa's ceiling is 10, maybe 11 wins. Maybe they can make the playoffs once every 8, 9 years.
Well, I'm glad you said 8 or 9 years and not 6 or 7. But
oh, Lord, here we go.
But I'll say this. Honestly, I'm glad you said that because if you think about their track record back before this playoff, like they would make a Rose Bowl game
every now and then,
probably about every 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, and that's fine. And that's the reality of some schools, okay? Some schools are going to be more successful more frequently than others. That's just the reality. Now, with the NIL stuff going on, we may see a dynamic change in some of these schools based on historical success and no success. We're seeing it right now.
Yeah.
So it's hard to predict the future. 10, 15 years ago, I could tell you, I know who's going to be in the top 20 every year.
Yeah.
It's going to be these 5, 8, 10, 12 teams are always going to be there because they always have and they always will. Now, I can't say that with certainty because of the NIL and the transfer portal.
Well, not only can we not say that with certainty, we can't talk about who 9 or 10 is going to be in the current playoff poll with certainty.
No.
Because, and I know we got some Alabama fans listening. Good for you guys. Happy for you. I'm not happy. Alabama jumps my Fighting Irish in the most recent college football playoff rankings due to this inconsistency of the selection committee. So Notre Dame dropping from 9 to 10, Alabama jumping from 10 to 9.
And I think it had more to do with Texas A&M getting beat than it does anything else, because now the loss to Texas A&M isn't nearly as big as it once was. I think that's probably the thing that more than anything else.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. So before we take a break here, I want to throw this out there. With Alabama jumping Notre Dame, these are the last 4 games for each of these teams against FBS opponents. So Notre Dame beat a 9-2 Navy team by 39 points. They beat a number 22 Pitt team at Pitt on the road by 22 points. They beat Syracuse, not a great win, by 63 points. And then Notre Dame beat Stanford by 28. If you look at Alabama, they beat a 4-8 South Carolina team by 7 points. They beat a 7-5 LSU team by 11 points. They beat a Auburn team who, that is not a good win. I'm sorry. I get it's the Iron Bowl. I get it's a rivalry game. They beat them by 7 points, and that's the most recent one. Oh, by the way, they lost at home to Oklahoma the week before that. So I throw that out there. That's your last sample size against notable opponents. And for the past 2 weeks, Notre Dame's crushed everybody. And I want all the Notre Dame haters to just start chirping at us. Hey, text us. The Volunteer Ridipest phone line, 423-749-1013. Notre Dame has handled their work, and Alabama gets a win over Auburn by 7 points against an Auburn team who's fired their coach, who's fallen apart, and picks and chooses when they want to show up and play. I got a problem with that. But, hey, with that, Jim, you got anything before we go to break?
No, we're going to go. Now, you're scooting out of here a little early, are you not?
Yeah, I got a bolt.
Chris Goforth, good friend, he's going to join us when we come back for break. You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. We'll be back after this.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Right now, someone in a Hardee's kitchen is about to warm up your winter with the new grilled cheese bacon burger. Charbroiled 100% Angus beef, bacon, and Swiss and American cheese melting on our soft, buttery sourdough. And our new grilled cheese breakfast sandwich with sausage or bacon and a fried egg. Cozy up to the goodness of the new grilled cheese bacon burger and breakfast sandwich. For a limited time, only at Hardee's. Cinnamon Raisin Biscuits are back. Unwrap them while you can. Only for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Did you twist an ankle? Hurt your shoulder? Or maybe that weekend project left you with more than sore muscles? Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Our Urgent Ortho Walk-In Clinic in Cleveland is open Monday through Saturday, treating sprains, strains, fractures, and more. No appointment needed. There's no need to drive to Chattanooga for expert orthopedic care. Call, schedule online, or walk in today and get back to moving pain-free. Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. The Center for expert care right when you need it.
Hey, this is Alfonso, the general manager of Crown Cleveland, your local home for Jeep and Ram. I'm here to announce that we have revamped our express lane. We are fully staffed and ready to take care of all your quick lube and oil needs. Please Google Crown Cleveland and see our great service specials.
Do you suffer from unsightly leg veins? Are your legs turning brown or swelling? Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Do you have restless legs or leg cramps disturbing your sleep? These symptoms are signs of bad veins. Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Find more information online at milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682 and get rid of those bad veins.
Not all composite decking is the same. Enjoy life's beautiful moments on an equally beautiful composite deck. Envision's products feature deep, non-repeating grains and distinct colors throughout each pour, offering a truly unique appearance unlike anything else on the market. Learn more and find inspiration for your project at Cleveland Plywood. Cleveland Plywood Company, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland.
Cleveland, the all-new Select Flooring and Remodeling is now open at 5555 North Lee Highway. We carry the top flooring brands you know and trust: Mohawk, Shaw, Engineered Floors, and United Weavers. We also specialize in home remodeling and roofing, delivering quality you can count on. Take advantage of 24 months interest-free credit. Come see us Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and Saturday, 9 to 2. Call us today at 423-889-3007. That's Select Flooring and Remodeling, 5555 North Lee Highway, Cleveland. From the floors to the roof, we've got you covered.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
For over 100 years, Mayfield Dairy has been delivering farm-fresh dairy beloved by Southern families. In 1983, Mayfield introduced its iconic yellow jug. The new opaque jug helps block harmful light rays, protecting the flavor and nutrients in milk. Learn more about Mayfield today at mayfielddairy.com. And happy to have my good friend joining us today, Chris Goforth. Chris, how is everything in your world, partner?
Great, Jim. Good to be hanging out with you for a little while.
Oh, man, I'm sure that when you're on hold, you heard Andy going off on a rant about Notre Dame getting jumped by Alabama in the committee's rankings last night. What's your opinion about that? I think it's more of a because Texas A&M got beat, and so now the Notre Dame, that loss isn't as good. So that I think that's the reason. Texas A&M losing hurt Notre Dame, and I think that's why Alabama jumped him more than anything. But I don't know. I can't figure out these selection committees, guys.
Two thoughts, Jim. One, man, I'm so glad we can have this conversation because we can have this conversation. Because we're having this conversation, that means that this playoff is not too big. It's not like the NCAA tournament where it's, like the old Oprah Winfrey show where you get a bid and you get a bid
exactly.
and you get a bid.
Yeah.
It's not like that. And I love that. I love the fact that people are getting, that Vanderbilt is, was this something on X, and who knows whether or not it's true, right? You probably do, but Vanderbilt threatening to sue the NCAA
or trying to get the president
playoff,
trying to get the president of the United States to institute two playing games, make it 16.
Yeah, I mean, look, I love the fact that we're here with it. Honestly, I do, because I think there were a lot of people that worried when we got a playoff, what would it mean for the sport? What would it mean for the regular season? And, man, I think based upon the conversations that are being had this week by college football fans, this playoff has done nothing to deteriorate in any way to the regular season of college football, which I think is wonderful. And, again, I love we can have this conversation because not everybody's going to get in, and somebody's going to be ticked off that they didn't. I like that. Now, number two, I think what it shows us, I don't know how much respect that, in speaking specifically of Vandy, I don't know how much respect the NCAA ever gave to them, or I'm sorry, the College Football Playoff Committee ever gave to them to begin with. I think at the end of the day, this is still about a brand.
Absolutely. Yep.
And what is your brand? I have said for years, so long as you have human beings in a room making a decision, margin of victory matters. Not winning is just not enough. It's how you win. And what does that final scoreboard say? So to me, I think a lot of this boils down to brands. This is a TV show as much as it is anything else. And when you put the big names in there, Jim, I think you and I have had the conversation before about, the NFL would love for the Dallas Cowboys to be relevant. Major League Baseball would love it when the New York Yankees are relevant.
Yep, you're right.
Because that's the two biggest fan bases in professional sports. We can talk about the Celtics and the Lakers in the NBA, and in college football, it's Ohio State, it's Alabama. Those are the programs that people tune into. I think we can throw Georgia in that. I don't know what the numbers look like this year, but I think the last couple of years, like Georgia has been one of the most watched teams in college football from a television ratings standpoint. So
there's no
I think
question
that
about
has.
that.
I think brand has as much to do with this. It's what's going to help a program. Some of the Power Four programs. Unfortunately, it's what's going to hurt places like Vanderbilt. And I don't know. I've said it forever. The Group of Four, or the Group of Five, I guess.
Right, it's Group of Five now. Yeah,
they need to go. They need to go do their own thing, right? I mean, you don't. No, go do your own thing. You're not going to get in. You're not going to get enough teams in. You're never going to get represented. So stop with this. Go do your own thing.
Yeah, here's the thing, because we all know, like, we're going to have Tulane or North Texas in from the American, or maybe James Madison from the Sun Belt. They're going to get in, and then they're going to get annihilated. Listen, there's a chance they might upset somebody, but there's no chance of them going out and winning multiple games. It's kind of like Cinderella in the NCAA basketball tournament. Chattanooga can win and get to the Sweet 16, but that's about as far as you can expect. That's about as far as you can, anticipate. We've had a few exceptions, VCU making it to the Final Four, but at the end of the day, they never win the national championship.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. That's just the way it is. The fact that. And I always use the analogy of the University of Alabama and Troy both playing for the same national championship. Outside of those two programs both residing in the state of Alabama, that's where the similarities end between those two, from the way they're funded to the way they recruit to their facilities, their NIL budgets, the whole 9 yards. And it is laughable that Troy is going to compete with that same national championship. And I've told people this about UTC for years, Jim. People talk about UTC taking that step and going into the bowl subdivision, and I'm like, why? If you'll just be patient, you're going to get the MTSUs and the Troys, and everybody else is going to come back to you eventually. I still think that's where we're headed.
Yeah, the super conferences are evolving right before our very eyes. I mean, we got the Big Ten with 18 teams. The ACC has 17. They've got 18 when you look at the basketball, when Notre Dame's there. And then you've got the SEC with 16. And all this, all these rumors about conference expansion is not going away. We're going to eventually have leagues with 20, 24 teams. It's going to be absurd. But that's where we're heading, and I hate it more than anything. I loved having regional conferences. I loved having the Pac-12. I used to love the Big 8 and the Southwest Conference, and the SEC when they were at 10. The Big 10 was at 10. But those days are long gone, partner.
Yeah, we sound like old men yelling at clouds at this point, because those days are done.
Okay, speaking of I guess playoffs that are too big, let's talk about the Blue Cross Bowl Listen, the state of Tennessee, the playoff system is gigantic. And I think you could lop off a one round, but they're not going to do that because the TSSAA makes a lot of money off of this. So it is what it is. Yeah. But we're down to the championship games going on this weekend in Chattanooga. Tomorrow we've got 3 games. Friday we got 3 games, and then Saturday we got 3 games. Now tomorrow at 11 we got FRA versus BGA. At 3 o'clock we've got USJ versus Nashville Christian. By the way, Jared Curtis, the number 1 quarterback in college in high school football, who flipped from Georgia to Vanderbilt, is the quarterback at Nashville Christian. And then at 7 o'clock tomorrow, Baylor versus Brentwood Academy. Tell us a little bit about this Baylor-Brentwood game, Chris.
Yeah, look, first off, David Gabriel George is the best high school football player I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he plays for Baylor.
And that goes and Jim, this goes back. I mean, I've done games on radio and TV now. I just finished my 30th year. I go back to the sport growing up in Jasper and Marion County. I remember seeing Leroy Thompson when I was about 13 years old.
Oh yeah.
When he played at Knoxville Austin East, and I thought, man, that's the best high school football player I've ever seen. And then, I've known Eric Westmoreland since he was 11 years old, and I saw Eddie Moore play every game of his high school career. And I thought, those guys, okay, this is the best I've ever seen. And then here comes Gerald Riggs Jr., and I'm like, that guy's the best.
Yep.
And then it was Jameer Gibbs, and I'm like, that guy's the best.
That's a good one now. That's a good one.
This David Gabriel George at Baylor, I'm telling you, he's the best high school football player I have ever seen. I have never seen a kid at 17 years old that is that physically developed, that has that kind of size, that kind of speed, and the quick twitch that he has. That was the great thing about Gibbs, is Jameer had the ability to stop and start and make people miss. Gabriel George can do the same thing, but he can also dip a shoulder and run through you.
Yep. He's got that Bo Jackson trait about him, does he not?
He does. He is, I'll tell you, you watch the game for no other reason tomorrow night just to watch that guy. I think he is the best high school football player I have ever seen.
I don't know. Have you seen Brentwood? Have you seen Brentwood play at all? Because I have not, so I don't know what to expect out of those guys.
I have not. All I hear from Brentwood Academy now and all of the Nashville private schools, they all hate Baylor McCollum.
Oh yeah, because of the they think that what they're doing is unfair. Yeah, I get it.
They want the TSSAA to step in and rule they can't compete against the rest of the private schools because of their boarding schools.
Yeah, and they've been doing it for 100 years, Chris.
Well, look, what's happened is Baylor and McCallie finally figured out how to take their what was an advantage and use it as such.
Yep.
And that's what they've done. Interesting, though, you go back 30 years ago, 35 years ago, when Brentwood Academy with Carlton Flatt, they were recruiting the mid-state. You want to come to school here? We'll get daddy a job. We'll get mama a car, and you can come to school here. And they were beating the pants off everybody, winning state championships. I didn't hear Baylor and McCallie complain and cry about that the way I've heard not just Brentwood, but all of those Nashville private schools have whined and moaned about what Baylor and McCallie are doing to them right now. So I always pull for our local teams, no matter who it is, when we get to this point. And so I'll be pulling for Baylor tomorrow night for sure.
Chris, we got about a minute to go. All right, so on Friday we got South Pittsburgh versus McKenzie. You know a little bit about South Pittsburgh, and Marion County on Saturday versus Huntington. Tell us a little bit about those. Do you think that we got some state championships in our back pocket?
I think what you're going to see, they're going to want to come out and punch South Pittsburgh in the mouth.
Yep.
I think they want to see how tough South Pittsburgh is. J.R. Hardrick, defensive end, he's going to Clemson. I don't know that South Pitt or Marion, either one for that matter, has they don't have a dude. I don't know that you look at one particular guy and say, this is the guy. I think they're made up of a lot of really good high school football players, and I think they're both really good teams. Marion's going to have a little bit of a bullseye on them being the defending state champions. I think South Pittsburgh's still smarting from a loss last year. Pirates will be coming into this game looking to finish what they didn't get done a year ago.
Well, man, Chris, I wish I had another 30 minutes to talk to you about this, man, but we're at the end of the show here, man. Thanks so much for your time, partner.
Always, man. Talk to you soon, Jim.
Take care. Chris Goforth, of course, you know about him. He does the high school games on local television here, and he's been doing it for 30 years. Hey, I hope everyone out there has a great rest of the day. Join us tomorrow for The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. We'll see you tomorrow.